And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C. Show. Glad you could join us. Speaking of joining us, don't forget about following us on Twitter. It's at Talkin Boxing. That's TalkinBoxing. We're looking to get 10,000 followers. We're more than halfway there. So if you're not following us, follow us. And if you are following us, get some other people to follow us. And speaking of following us, we got the YouTube stuff. We made a commitment to YouTube. And I know a lot of people watch and listen to us on YouTube. So do us a favor and subscribe. It only takes a minute. Click it, and we'd appreciate it. We'd also appreciate you coming down next weekend for the big fight, Cotto Canelo. And we're doing a pre- and post-fight show at Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria Ristorante Italiano. And we want you there. So make sure you come on down. The fight's going to be for free. Sal's going to make his whole menu available, as well as a cash bar, and we're going to have a great time. So drop us an email or just click the banner that you see up on BillyCBoxing.com. Now, if you can't make it, fear not. We'll be broadcasting it live. You're not going to want to miss the pre-fight or the post-fight show. We all know that the Cotto Canelo fight's going to be a great fight to watch. And joining us right now is the man himself, Sal Rocky Cencola. What's up, Sal?
Bill, how are you today, buddy?
Oh, not too bad, my man. Not too bad. We got a lot of stuff to talk about in so little time, so let's get rolling right away. First and foremost, this past weekend, we had a pretty decent fight between Timothy Bradley and Brandon Bam Bam Rios. This was Timothy Bradley's first fight with his new trainer, Teddy Atlas. And I got to be honest with you, I've been very critical of Teddy Atlas over the past for his training ability. I mean, obviously, he's a good television commentator and, of course, a ringside analyst. And I've never doubted his knowledge, but and his analogies are funny as hell. But as far as success in the ring, he's had some, but they're far and few in between because he has a tendency to break down fighters and make them do it his way. I watched a Timothy Bradley fight this weekend, Sal, and I think he finally got it. I mean, he meaning Teddy Atlas. I think he did the right things. He fine-tuned Timothy Bradley. I saw a big change. I was happy with the performance. What's your thoughts?
One of the things I appreciate so much about you, Bill, is we see very similar fights and other things in life here that we talk about. But I could tell you that's the same assessment I had. Now, I go way back with Teddy Atlas. He was a trainer doing his tutelage under a great old trainer, Victor Valley. We were in Gleason's gym together. And at the time, Teddy Atlas was training with Victor Valley, and they were training fighters in his stable, like Billy Costello. Remember that name?
Oh, I was good friends with him. Of course I know him.
Yeah. Great guy. I was friends with him as well, and he was a real gentleman, too, outside the ring. And also, in that stable that Victor Valley was training, and Teddy Atlas had the knowledge and tutelage and guidance were from Victor Valley, they were also training Jerry Cooney.
That's right.
And we all know Jerry Cooney. So every day we were in the gym together, and I saw Teddy Atlas, and he looked like he was trying to pick up and honing in on his ability as well. But I'll tell you, I could say what I watched and observed, Teddy did a good job in the corner. And what you do with a fighter, you don't try and change a fighter. You take what is good in a fighter, and you maximize what is good. You negate what is bad, and that's what you do. That's how you fine-tune a fighter. And I saw a good display by Timothy Bradley. How about you? What do you think?
Well, let me ask you. Oh yeah, no, I thought he looked great. I thought that, granted he was in against the perfect opponent for him, but
maybe a sparring partner.
Right. But the thing that I don't think. First of all, Timothy Bradley doesn't get the credit he deserves, in my opinion, Sal, from a lot of fans. And I don't understand it, but that's another story. But we all knew that he had hand speed. He's always in phenomenal shape. But his problem is that he would get coaxed into that phone booth fight, which was, because he's generally smaller than his opponent, would kind of be in his opponent's favor, and sometimes he got away from his game plan. It seems that Teddy Atlas has brought that that discipline. But I have a good question for you. As a fighter, and if you're with a trainer for the majority of your career, and I'm talking, I'm not just saying a couple of years. I'm saying, you're with a trainer for pretty much your whole career, like Timothy Bradley was with Joel Diaz, and then he makes a decision to make a change. Why would a fighter, or how does a fighter respond to a totally new trainer when the old trainer was kind of trying to tell him the same stuff? Now, obviously, Teddy did some tweaking and adjustments that Bradley responded to, but I'm curious to know, why would a fighter listen to one guy and not a guy that he had been with? Because, Joel Diaz used to tell him the same stuff in between rounds. Well, not as animated, but the same stuff, stop getting into the war, outbox your opponent, blah, blah, blah. What makes that switch finally go on or off for a fighter with a new trainer? I mean, is it just a mental thing? I mean, tell us about that.
You are right on, and it's a great question because I can empathize, and I'm putting myself right back in that situation because I was trained actually by some of the best trainers in the world. And what a fighter needs from his trainer is confidence. And maybe Bradley didn't have the confidence any longer, or felt a little stale, or felt like he had another level he could attain, but not with the same trainer. The old definition of insanity. Keep on doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That's what the definition is. Now, not to say that this trainer was bad that he had, but to say the fact that maybe Bradley felt there was more, that he could dig deeper and he could listen, and he had to have confidence to hear the same words from a different mouthpiece that would give him the confidence, like, yeah, this is the right way to do it. Maybe another opinion. But whatever it was, definitely I think, switching a trainer because you may be feeling a little stale, or maybe you don't have the same confidence level that you do, that's when you seek another trainer. And one thing I will tell you about Bradley, and I'm going to give it back to you, I was very impressed for the kind of style and kind of fight that he fights. You have to be in very good condition, very good shape. And I'll tell you what, I was very impressed on his conditioning, and that gives a lot of kudos to what he does to get himself in that kind of shape, because he fights a good expending energy kind of fight.
Well, Dr. Sal Cencola, I think you finally made it official, and I guess I'm insane because based on the definition, I'm clearly a little bit insane with the boxing business. But I agree with you, and I think that Teddy did a great job bringing out some discipline, which obviously Bradley had discipline, but in the heat of the battle, I think sometimes he let it go, and I think Teddy was successful at keeping him focused. He had one round where he fell off the track, so to speak, and I loved. Did you catch like his body work and his pivoting and Teddy would say, listen, if you're going to throw the hook, do it from the side, not straight on. And next thing you know, Timothy Bradley was responding exactly like that, and it equaled success. So obviously the trust factor is there, and it's something that I guess you explain better to me with the comfort zone. A change is good in this case. And I would have thought it might have been a little rocky to begin with, but it seems to be a good fit with these two guys.
It's true, Bill. And, you ask a lot of fighters, it's funny. It's very inclusive when they describe a fight. They'll say, well, we thought we were going to go out here, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. Guess what? There is no where. It's you. It's the individual. It's the fighter. It was always that. But where the fighters always include and bring in, including myself, is the corner, the people that are his backbone in that regards, where they are his eyes that he doesn't see at times. And that's the confidence level that a fighter has to have in his corner, whether it's a cut man that's going to close the bleeding, or whether to negate it, stop it, and minimize it, or the trainer that has the ability to look with the big eyes, the big picture, see the strategy unfolding, and know that there is a way that we are going to beat this guy and beat this camp, and this is the strategy we're going to utilize. And so I agree, and then it was Teddy Atlas. I saw him coaching him in between rounds, and Bradley listened. I thought Bradley didn't do much of a body attack the first couple of rounds. In fact, I thought it was all head hunting until Teddy said, "Hey, you got to go to the body," because that's what would set up the whole knockout in the ninth round. Was he hit him with that left hook to the liver, and then he crossed him over with a right. So he finally listened to Teddy, because the first early round he didn't go through with that body attack until Teddy mentioned it to him.
Yeah, and he was landing the hooks from the side, like Teddy said, and it was successful. And the body shots clearly stopped Rios. I mean, that's what pretty much ended the fight. And as far as Rios is concerned, it almost seems like he made up his mind. It's not something. It's obviously the complete opposite with you, but when a fighter kind of mentally is retired before the fight starts, and then he says it after the fight, this was my last fight. I mean, it's easier to just say I've had enough, isn't it? Than when it's you're looking ahead to a long career, you kind of stiffen up a little more. I mean, do you think fighters should even get in the ring if they're already thinking about retirement?
No, because you're playing with your life, and it just takes one punch in one certain way, and you're not going to get off the canvas, hypothetically, if you're not ready for it. But if you have a defeatist mindset, mentality, and this is your last fight, and that's why maybe he folded earlier. Although, I'll tell you, Rios didn't show me much more than a conditioned sparring partner with Bradley in that regard. But I didn't see, again, I look for that burning desire, that passion, that hunger to win, to take the fight to every level it takes. That's fighting. It's like you have a fish on the line. That's fighting. That fish doesn't want to get on the boat. That fish doesn't know what the hell's pulling him in. But he's going to fight, and he's going to try and get out of it. I don't see that in a lot of fighters today. I hate to use that analogy, but you understand it. The fighters, they succumb to a defeat or a tempo that's going to lead them on the path to destruction and losing. So, no, I think Rios, if he had in his mind this was his last fight, two things. He should go out, try and be the winner, and put the piss and vinegar in his attack and be a little more aggressive. Or what we saw, he looked like he just went through the motion, tried to be a little aggressive, but I'll tell you, it was a one-sided fight, and maybe not to take away from Rios, but I think Bradley just put on a good performance, a very good performance.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, you had said you had a chance to watch the Vasily Lomachenko against Romulo Kosaka fight, which I tell you, Lomachenko is a fun fighter to watch, isn't he? I mean, he leaves you with that I can't wait to see him again kind of feel, doesn't he?
You just hit on the head again, Bill. Yeah, I want to see this guy fight again. He's an action fighter. I love the angles. I love the moves. I can see him calculating when he's in there. I see what he's doing in his mind. He sets up. He does it all. This guy's a very talented young fighter. And I'll tell you what, I am excited to see his next fight. I'm just getting used to pronouncing their names correctly. And I'm teasing. But I think he's an exciting young fighter. I want to see him fight, and I want to see him over and over again, because he brings that element of surprise. Yet I like the angles he gives his opponent. I like the footwork. I like the balance. So this guy is a complete fighter, and that's what I like to see in a fighter. And he's definitely good to watch.
I don't lean on me for pronunciation, Sal. That's why I call myself Billy C. That's why I'm Billy C. I can't even pronounce my own name. But thank God you're Sal. You don't go by Salvatore. I probably couldn't pronounce that. But we have a big fight that we're going to be down at your beautiful place again next week. Miguel Cotto going up against Saul Alvarez, and I'm really looking forward to this fight. There's a lot of talk, not only about the matchup themselves, but also what kind of doors would be opened or at least available for the winner to walk through. Any early thoughts? I know we've been talking about this a lot, but this is a really good matchup. you look at Miguel Cotto, he's been around a long time. I mean, he's 35 years old. He's a former world junior middleweight, welterweight, and junior welterweight champ. He's currently the world middleweight champion. He goes up against Saul Alvarez, who's still only 25 years old, despite having 46 fights and fighting for a long time already. What's your early thoughts on this one?
Well, my early thoughts, you said it, this is going to be a classic matchup. You're going to have the cagey veteran who's been through a lot of wars, who can survive in a ring, who knows how to survive in a ring, who knows how to pace himself, that can dig deep, that knows when a second wind is going to come up, that knows how to defend himself, and that knows how to carry it on. Miguel Cotto has a lot of experience, and I think he's going to utilize it, going to have to count on it, because I don't know if he's going to have an opportunity to face too many fighters like Canelo Alvarez, who's got that one-punch knockout ability that is a very good methodical fighter in himself. I like Miguel Cotto's angles, his surprise, his explosive combinations. And Canelo Alvarez, I see a very methodical, very good fighter who uses his reach, his arms, and his distance, but also could unleash a hell of a right hand followed by a good hook. So it's going to be a heck of a matchup. And I need another day or two to call this one, but I will call it, and I will call it probably the end of this week or by the next week when we talk. I'll call it. I'll make a wager on that one. But I like the both fighters, and they're going to give us a great fight. You got the young guy who's coming up, who's established, and is going to have more to prove, and you got Cotto, who is going to be doing whatever a veteran of his ability and level can do.
Well, here's some food for thought. Miguel Cotto, 35 years old. All right, he's an amazing. I'm going to give you a couple of amazing stats from both fighters. Miguel Cotto, 35 years old, been in the business a long time. How long? The last 23 of his 24 fights have all been for world titles, which is pretty amazing if you think about it. He's got a 75% knockout ratio. Miguel Cotto is a come-at-you fighter. He used to have some box ability when he was a lot younger, but he under Freddie Roach, he comes right at you. Saul Alvarez, one of his big faults is that he's not that proficient attacking his opponents on the move, when he's got to chase him around, when he's got to be on his toes. You know, when a fighter is standing right in front of him, Saul Alvarez is at his best. Oscar De La Hoya was making some comments today about the fact that Miguel Cotto's game plan has to be on his toes, and they meaning Team Alvarez, don't think that he's going to be able to do that, considering that Alvarez has got a 2-inch height advantage, a 3.5-inch reach advantage, a 10-year age advantage. I kind of have a tendency to agree with Oscar De La Hoya on this one. And Saul Alvarez has quietly fought some top opposition himself. Of his last 15 fights, they've all been against top-notch opposition, including his lone loss, a 12-round decision against Floyd Mayweather. So I think you're 100% right. Classic youth versus age matchup. The question is, will the youth win or will age prevail? Age and experience. It's a tough one to call. I think you're right. It's hard. You know, I'm leaning towards Saul myself, but the more I think of Miguel Cotto and how successful he's been under Freddie Roach, you never know, right?
You never know. And I used to say this, Billy. A fighter's really only as good as his last fight. And he's got to come back out there the next time out, and he's got to reestablish himself, whether he won or whether he lost. And the bottom line is, you got two guys going to face each other. They both have pride. They both have conditioning. And, you know, it's just a classic matchup. You got the older, experienced, world-winning, world-beating windmill of a puncher in Cotto. And classic counter-puncher and boxing technician with a heavy punch, Canelo Alvarez. And definitely Canelo Alvarez, in his young 25 years, has had a world of experience facing top opposition, as you mentioned earlier. So I think the young buck going against the cagey veteran is going to prove to be one of the best fights that we've seen in a long time. And may the best man win. I could see Miguel Cotto still being able to stay on his toes, to be able to box, and to be able to move around. And I think, his conditioning and his level of training, he should be able to perform at his top level. And Canelo Alvarez, well, what you see is what you get. The guy is just getting better and better with every fight he takes.
Yeah, I think ring generalship for Saul Canelo Alvarez is really going to come into play in this fight because if he can show and demonstrate that, he's learning, especially from his loss to Floyd Mayweather. I personally feel he's learned a lot. And speaking of Floyd Mayweather, just before we let you go here, I want to get your thoughts. Now, obviously, you and I have talked a lot about Floyd Mayweather and his significance in the sport, both by today's standards and where he would have, stood, among the greats of the sport. And you've also know enough about Floyd Mayweather to know some of, my opinions about him, and you obviously have your own. So I want to throw this at you. Floyd Mayweather has been in the news over the last 48 hours or so, criticizing Triple G, saying that Triple G doesn't take risks like Floyd. Floyd says that he took risks and he took chances and he challenged himself throughout his career. And he's criticizing Triple G for not doing that. And he feels that Triple G needs to challenge himself and take chances and risks before he'll give him any respect. My question to you is, what's your thoughts on that coming from a guy like Floyd Mayweather who's claiming that he took risks and Triple G does not? What's your thoughts?
Do you want me to laugh right now on the radio?
Yeah, I do. I want you to laugh. I want you to give me. I want you to give me your thoughts.
Let me tell you something. You only have to sling mud at another individual when you're not getting the just desserts that you feel you're due. And I think Mayweather, as talented as he is, he should keep his opinions to himself. Because I'll tell you what, Triple G is a damn good champion and a darn good fighter, and it's going to be hard to beat on any level. And for him to make those kind of comments, he takes a chance. Everyone takes a chance when you go in the ring. And you know what? I think when you call the kettle black, I will give Mayweather his credit. As you had mentioned, Mayweather was good for his time, his era, and his style of fighting. He does a good job to win, and that's the end of the game. His hand is raised at the end of the fight. He's well-conditioned, and he does what he has to win. But when I hear of a fighter who tries to put the leverage on in his home court advantage, that designates the size of the ring, that designates the ounce and the make of the gloves, that has one demand after another. Let me tell you something. If every fighter had that luxury, I think we'd see champions stay a little longer than what they do. We'll see other fighters sustain a level of a career longer than what they do. That's why you're a fighter. You can't have the golden brick road laid out in front of you. You have to fight your way through the steps every day, no matter what you're faced with. So on that level, I give Mr. Mayweather, a bit of you should look in the mirror before you say someone did take a chance. And that's my thoughts on that.
You're right. Here's a guy. It's funny because I didn't even mention that in my rant earlier on the show. But, you're right. He dictates the location. He always fights in his hometown. He dictates the gloves. He dictates what kind of testing you're going to get. He dictates the weight. He dictates everything. What color trunks, what color this. And then he's got the nerve to say that he's taking risks. The only risk that he's ever taken, really, and you got to give him credit for this, is he bought out his contract with Top Rank, and basically from that point on, he turned his career around to be the success it was and is money-wise. We're talking money-wise, money in the bank, that kind of financial success. But to me, it doesn't equate, and unfortunately a lot of young fight fans think it does. To me, just having an O and just having all that money doesn't equate to being a great fighter. He might have been, you can make a good case that he might have been the best fighter of his era, of this era. But in the all-time great, he's, if I had to put him in, my top all-time great, as of right now, he is in my top 25, but, maybe just that 25. I'm sorry. There's way more fighters that I could put in front of him, Sal.
Well, I feel the same way, Billy. I'll give him credit where it's due. And like you and I have discussed and we've debated on this, I give Mayweather a lot of credit. Because like I said, maybe he knows the end result of most fighters that take a beating and take a punching and take some shots are not going to wind up good another 20 years from now. Maybe he wants to be able to play with his grandkids or open a business, maybe a pizzeria or something. Maybe he wants to be able to do something later in life. It's not that he has to. He's got a lot of money, but he better be careful how he invests it. Even that, he'll need his faculties and stats to worry about that. But the bottom line is that that's the reason why he fights the kind of fight he does, and he, all the power to him. Because the name of the game is hit or not be hit, and to have your hand raised at the end. And if you play by those rules, he fought every fight on that line and on that level to be victorious. And I give him all that credit. But as you were saying, is he the best of his era? Yeah, he could be counted as best of his era. Could I give him the top 20 of all time? Maybe I'll go 5 up from you and say the top 20. But you know what? I don't put him anywhere near the top 5 or top 10 because I could think of a lot of fighters right now that if it was, if he, I think he'd be a little bit thinking twice before they ring that first bell if it was against some of the fighters you and I could talk about.
Oh, no doubt. Sal, great job as usual, and we're looking forward to another great event down at your place, and I'll get with you and see what we got to do next week. I know our schedule's a little messed up because of my travel, and then the following week it's a little crazy because of the holiday, so I'll be in touch with you later in the week, my man.
We'll make it happen, Billy. I want to thank you and your fans and friends all who are listening, and I thank you so much for the opportunity. I love talking about the game I love, so you take care, pal.
Get my pizza ready. I'm starting to fast.
You got it. I got a new one. I got a new one for you.
Which one is this now?
Oh, I'm going to show you. I talked to my old Uncle Antonio, Uncle T we call him. He's right in Tom's River. And Uncle T was also one of the great chefs of the Cenicolas and great man. And he talked to me the other day about a recipe. His son came up from Yulee, Florida to see me and with his wife, and he rode a motorcycle up, and we made some pizzas. We had a great time. But then I talked to his father, my Uncle T, and Uncle T reminded me of a recipe that he used as a kid that was one of his favorites. And I made the pie for my staff, and they loved it. So I'm going to share that with you, too.
Sounds good, man, but I always kick off my visit with a plain. You know that.
Hey, man, when it's plain cheese, that's all you need. When you have to start with the best ingredients, you only need the basics. That's
right, man, and nobody makes them better than you. That's why you physically got to do that first one. After that, it's all gravy. But I can't wait to get down there, my man. I'll talk to you soon.
We'll look forward to it, Billy. Thank you so much. You take care and have a great night.
All right, brother. Take care. That's my man Sal, Rocky, Cencola. Make sure you make your plans to join us down in beautiful St. Simon's Island. Visit my website, www.billycboxing.com, and click on the Cotto Canelo poster, which is right on the left-hand side, or just visit www.ldltv.com for all the information. We want you to stay with us. I'm going to be staying at the King and Prince. What a great place. Bring the family down. There's nothing better than to kick off the holiday week with a weekend in St. Simon's Island and eating Sal's neighborhood restaurant Italiano food. I leave the pizzeria out because it's much more than pizza, even though that's my favorite.
Talkin'.